Boing, 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 chimed the clock in the tower of the church in Jollyhat-On-Sea. It was the start of another lovely summer's morning, and the sun, already wide awake and peeping around a creamy soft white cloud, had a smile on his face and what seemed like a sort of twinkle in his eye. Maybe he already knew that today might just be a little different. People in Jollyhat-On-Sea were stirring and going about their business. The milkman was delivering bottles of milk, which the cows had so obligingly made earlier that same morning. All the lovely chickens who roam and cluck, cluck in the meadows around our little town have laid beautiful brown, and in some cases white, eggs, which would soon fill 100 egg cups. William Crumb, or Billy to his friends and those who know him, or Mr. William Crumb to those who are not his friends and do not know him, had already made wonderful loaves of bread of every shape and size, some with sesame seeds on the top, some with sunflower seeds on the top, and some with a mixture of oats, barley, wheat, and what have you all mixed in together. Billy Crumb was busy delivering his tasty bread to different houses around the town so that people could start having their breakfast. People were waking up to this beautiful day, except that is in Rosebank Cottage, where Gilbert was still asleep and having a most interesting dream.
Ring, ring, ring,
went the clock on Gilbert's bedside table. Monty, a mouse with a rather sophisticated dress sense who lodged at Gilbert's cottage, awoke with a start. It was hard to say whether it was the alarm clock that woke him or the fact that Gilbert was proclaiming, that's a grown-up word for shouting, that he was going to get a camera. In any case, it filled Monty with some unease. After a delicious breakfast with Monty consisting of orange juice, brown flakes, and the most perfect boiled egg, 3.5 minutes by the way, toasty soldiers, marmalade made by Mrs. Mellish from down the road, and a huge pot of Gilbert's favourite tea, Lapsang Souchong with a dash of Earl Grey or Darjeeling. It depends on what you've got handy in the tin.
get on with it.
Sorry. As I was saying, after his breakfast, Gilbert set out down the street on his mission. He hadn't gone very far when he came upon Laugh and Hattie, or Hat, as everyone called her. "Hello, Gilbert," said Hat. "And what are you up to?" noticing Gilbert's obvious excitement and the smile which beamed all over his face. I'm going to get a camera," he said. Don't you think that's a wonderful idea?" he continued.
No, that's a terrible idea,
came a shrill little voice from Laugh's hat. The voice belonged to Doubtful. Now, readers, it must be explained. Doubtful is a little rabbit with rather large ears who lives in Laugh's rather large hat. Ah, I hear you say, but where did he come from? Well, nobody is exactly sure. All anybody knows is that one day Laugh was performing one of his amazing conjuring tricks, which should have produced a bunch of bananas out of his hat, but instead of the bananas it produced Doubtful. His name is Doubtful, by the way, because I'm afraid he does always seem to see the worst side of most situations. Anyway, needless to say, he just decided to stay and has lived inside Laugh's hat ever since. Well, it must be said that the look on Hat and Laugh's faces was of some alarm. Gilbert's history with machines has not always been a good one. There was the three-wheeled car incident, remembered Laugh, and the automatic combined kettle-teapot radio disaster, mused Hat. Not wanting to dampen Gilbert's complete enthusiasm, Hat simply said, "Are you sure this is really a good idea, Gilbert?" and bade him farewell as they parted and said they would see each other later. Hat watched Gilbert head towards Len's camera shop and thought to herself, after all, it's only a camera. What could possibly go wrong? Within a very short while, Gilbert was inside the fascinating interior of Len's camera shop. On the counter were a range of different and very mysterious-looking objects, all, it seems, in one way or another, to do with cameras. There was a spring-looking thingy with a red button on top, which Gilbert was dying to press, just to see what it did, but he didn't. There was another thing which looked like a small clock, which every time you went near it, the hand went up and down in an agitated way. Most intriguing, thought Gilbert. The wall behind the counter had a number of shelves on which were a number of cameras. Cameras of every shape and size and description. Gosh, said Gilbert out loud, I didn't realise there were so many different types of camera in the whole world.
Oh, yes,
came a voice from behind a screen. It made Gilbert jump. And as he did so, a tall man wearing spectacles walked around from behind the screen, saying,
Oh, yes, there are so many cameras, one to suit every need. And what can I do for you, Gilbert?
Gilbert could see it was Len of the aforementioned Len's camera shop.
Oh, it's you. Hello, Len,
said Gilbert.
I would like to buy a camera, he continued. Well, you've definitely come to the right place, said Len. What kind of camera would you like? I'm not really sure, said Gilbert. What do you suggest?
Len thought for a moment.
Well, it all depends, of course, on which pictures you'll be taking, and also how helpful you would like it to be, said Len.
Excitedly, Gilbert explained,
I would like to take pictures of the sea, my house, my friends, Hat, Laugh, Prudence, Doubtful, and of course Monty. In fact, everyone. Oh, yes, and of course I would really like it to be very, very helpful.